Let's now move on to the big story that we are tracking at this hour. At least 4 states in India have detected the dreaded avian flu, the bird flu. Himachal Pradesh being the latest in the series. Prior to that, Rajasthan, Kerala and Madhya Pradesh reported bird flu cases, and this is coming bang in the middle of a pandemic, and that's why the concerns are that much more higher on dealing with this crisis. Can it become a flu that will be transmitted to humans? That is the major concern here, and clearly the public health crisis will be aggravated in at least in these 4 states for now where avian flu is being detected. So how are the states geared up? Is enough being done? What are the preventive measures? Should there be a ban on chicken or on proximity to poultry should be restricted? What are the measures that can be taken? The Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change, the Wildlife Division, has already issued guidelines to the respective states and to all states, in fact, because obviously the entire country would be vulnerable when 4 states have already reported these cases. So I would like to introduce my guest this afternoon, Dr. Abel Lawrence, Professor of Clinical Immunology and Rheumatology of the Sanjay Gandhi Institute in Lucknow. Thank you so much, Dr. Lawrence, for joining us. Before I go across to Dr. Lawrence, a quick check of the facts that we have. 4 states, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Kerala and Madhya Pradesh. In Himachal, around 1,800 migratory birds, most of them bar-headed geese, have been found dead in the Pong Dam Lake sanctuary, while 25,000 ducks found dead in Kerala. Rajasthan and MP have reported 425 and 400 deaths of crows, respectively. So that's the latest information. Dr. Lawrence, bird flu alert in these states is now been sounded. How dangerous is it? What are the primary concerns coming as it does in the middle of a pandemic?
We need to recognize that there are 2 different strains of avian influenza, that is highly pathogenic avian influenza strains, which have been identified in these situations. The strain identified in Pong Dam in Himachal Pradesh is H5N1, whereas the one identified in Kerala is H5N8. Meanwhile, we don't know which one is caused the disease in Himachal Pradesh, in Madhya Pradesh and in Rajasthan. Of these, H5N8 is, while being extremely pathogenic for migratory as well as domestic birds, it doesn't affect human beings much. So the risk to human is low in the case of H5N8, which has been implicated in Kerala. On the other hand, H5N1 has been known to cause deaths in the past. It can cause severe disease in humans. But thing to note is that usually it's all people who are in contact with poultry. That is, poultry farmers, people who handle these dead birds are the ones typically involved. It doesn't transmit. So the good thing is that H5N1 is not very good at transmitting between humans. Even though cases have been reported where close contact, that is, family members who have been exposed to infected people for several hours have managed to transmit H5N1. But so the random person is not at risk in either case. H5N8, the one in Kerala, has very low risk of human transmission, whereas the one in Himachal Pradesh has a greater potential. But all of these virus can, over a period, given enough chance, eventually turn a pandemic, because all pandemic influenza is caused by influenza A. And influenza A is basically a virus of birds.
Yes.
So basically the route by which we get pandemic influenza is at some point they cause from birds, wild birds to migratory birds to domestic birds and then to other animals, and finally manage to cross the species. So there is no immediate danger, but if the more opportunity it has to transmit to humans, the more it can mutate and become pathogenic to humans.
Okay, so from what I understand, no immediate danger to humans, but the probability is not entirely ruled out. But like you said, the vulnerability to humans is at the moment low. Bird-to-bird transmission is the major concern. So stay with us, Dr. Lawrence, some breaking news coming in. Bird flu has now been declared as state-specific disaster in Kerala. Kerala has been put on high alert after an outbreak of bird flu in 2 districts, Kottayam and Alappuzha. More than 25,000 ducks in the region have died. Vivek Karindalam on the phone line. Yes, Vivek, we have on the show Dr. Abel Lawrence, who was just telling us that the H5N8 is a little low insofar as the danger level is concerned. H5N1 is the more dangerous strain. I will have Vivek join us in just a bit. Coming back to you, Dr. Lawrence, again, what is the solution at the moment? What steps can be taken? What are the preventive measures? We do understand there are guidelines issued. From your understanding, with the administration now, like you heard, have sounded a high alert. Kerala has said this is a state-specific disaster, so this particular state is, of course, taking it extremely seriously. But tell us, is culling of birds a solution? As Kerala, it seems, have taken a decision already to have ordered culling of ducks in Kerala. Also, ducks, hens in 1 kilometer radius of the affected areas already been ordered in Kerala.
That's the correct step. Whenever it spreads to poultry farms, culling of the nearby and is necessary, because it is very important to protect, because these large poultry farms have very large number of animals where the bird-to-bird transmission happens quickly, and their mutation and can happen. In fact, most pandemics start from such farms where the opportunity for interspecies transmission and mutation is very high. And in other areas,
so those concerns are there, but again, right.
Surveillance of farms is very important. There should not be any hiding of bird deaths in poultry farms.
Okay, poultry farms must be closely monitored. Surveillance is critical. What about the human poultry contact? Should that be completely avoided? Like for the common man, should he avoid consuming chicken, for instance?
Probably in places where there are outbreaks. In other areas, it will be an over. And secondly, one thing we should remember, this flu also will be stopped by what we usually do. Unless you are handling the animals, our mask will protect us from flu also. And so the poultry farmers had to be careful, continue wearing masks. But if there is an outbreak in that area, culling is necessary, because once it enters the poultry farms, it is very difficult to stop it. It will spread like wildfire.
Yes, so for the moment, perhaps it might be wise to restrict the poultry farming, and by inference perhaps also have some restrictions on poultry trade. The precautions, Dr. Lawrence, I'm just reading out the one released by the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change. The Wildlife Division says for personal care, wear rubber gloves and protective clothing that can be disinfected, wash hands with soap and water. Now, this is again common precaution for COVID-19 as well. Do not eat, drink or smoke while handling animals. Minimize exposure to mucosal membranes by wearing protective eyewear. So goggles are preferred if at all you are in any way handling poultry. Influenza virus is sensitive to many common disinfectants such as detergents, so 10% household bleach, alcohol and other commercial disinfectants can be used. The virus is much more difficult to inactivate if it is encrusted in organic materials such as feces or soil. And also take an influenza antiviral drug. To that extent, Dr. Lawrence, is there anything preventive that can be taken by the common citizen to protect himself or herself from the avian flu?
I would not suggest anybody taking any drugs to protect. All protections that we take for coronavirus would come handy in protecting us from influenza in this flu also. This is also mostly droplets transmission and close contacts. Fomites and droplets. So same precautions that we take against the coronavirus would be sufficient.
Okay, that is important. And the states which are affected must maintain proper vigil. Dr. Lawrence, I understand you were emphasizing on the point of monitoring poultry farms. Now, how can that be done? Is there any particular plan of action that you recommend for that? Inspection
of farms. The problem is that the traders should not be, selling infected poultry into the market. That's the potential danger. That is how people might. Otherwise, if it is health, the thing is, birds are highly susceptible to flu, so they will die quickly. But the question is, in people who buy, already processed meat, poultry meat, how would they know it's infected or not? That's why the surveillance is important. And more importantly, if there is any outbreak anywhere in that, all that nearby areas have to be, resort to culling. And importantly, ducks are
Dr. Abel
usually...
Lawrence, your views are extremely important because you are giving us clarity on something where the information is only just about trickling in. Like you said, there are 2 different variants, there are 2 strains in 2 different states, 4 states already impacted. There is also some amount of ambiguity on the number of deaths that have taken place in Gujarat. Whether that is attributed to bird flu or not, we don't know. But over 50 bird deaths have been reported from Gujarat as well. The picture is not absolutely clear, but like you said, abundant precaution must be taken for now. The same protocols, the same precautions as we are taking for COVID-19 should suffice. Dr. Abel Lawrence, thanks for joining us. Let's take a short break here. News and updates continue on the other side.